are you and what do you do?
I don't know! Sorry. I'm Stephen Murray, I'm the Stellaris game director. My job is to provide the creative vision for Stellaris and guide us into the future.
How did you end up joining the Stellaris team?
There was an opening on the Stellaris careers page actually for a game systems designer, so I signed up because who wouldn't want to be working on the game that they play all the time?
What is your favorite type of empire to play?
Good question. I tend to play a variety of different empires, although I'm sort of typecast in being either the megacorp player or someone that is abusing the galactic community as much as possible during our multiplayer games and that sort of thing. And I tend to be the type that gets a little aggressive in the mid-game. Can't have a hug box after all.
If you could work on one thing regardless of available resources and have it end up in the game, what would it be?
Well, a month or two ago, I probably would have said something about making synthetic or cybernetic ascension, up to the par of sonic ascension. But since we've already done that, I'm not exactly sure, but I know it's not ground combat.
What can you tell us about your long-term plans for Stellaris?
I think that there's a huge number of stories remaining to tell in the Stellaris universe. All of sci-fi is in our domain, and I plan on exploring as much of it as I can with all of you. What is your favorite in-game Easter egg? So this is a really tough question because, I keep giving these snarky answers and stuff like that, so you guys know my personality. I'd have to say it's probably in the achievements somewhere because ever since I came onto the team, I've been the source of some of the worst puns and references in some of those. For the machine age in general, I think it's the obsessional directive. The icon for it is a paperclip because there's a theoretical experiment about a paperclip maximizer going rogue, and that was one of the inspirations for that civic.
How do you decide what gets worked on in the custodian team?
I throw darts at the custodian team board, and then I make an arbitrary decision.
Would you like to answer that seriously?
Well, okay, it's not really arbitrary. Usually we'll weight the amount of effort it will take to do something versus the amount of benefit that we'll get to it. And since there's only so much stuff that the custodian team can work on at a time, it's really important to find the things that will give us the best bang for the buck and make the game the best for you, the players.
How does community feedback factor into the custodian team's development?
A huge amount, actually. You could see during the technology open beta that we ended up taking a lot of the player feedback into account. The answers that we got on the feedback forums, the posts that were being made on the forums and elsewhere on social media, we read it all, absorbed it, and it goes into our decisions. If there's something that the players are clamoring for, it's very likely to end up in a custodian patch at some point. Or at least it'll end up on their board.
What has been your favorite buffing the backlog addition?
It's either some of the additions that have been made to the galactic community over time, or the plantoid humanoids, the ones with the little birds. I really dig those.
What's the funniest bug you've had to fix?
It's one of two. In the first one, the AI would send its envoys to harm relations with empires that it wanted to rival. Unfortunately, since we didn't have a check to make sure that this was a valid target of a rivalry, we ended up with an AI empire sending its envoys to rival an incoming asteroid. Needless to say, they weren't very happy with each other, and explosions ensued. The second one was an accidental script error where a rogue servitor turning a planet into a machine world would turn all organics in the galaxy into a nutrient slurry.
Without making any promises, what would you like to see the custodian team work on over the next year?
I've talked about it a little bit on the forums before, but I'd really like to redo the galaxy setting screen, hiding a bunch of things that are more complex sliders behind an advanced settings toggle, maybe grouping some of them together to work together. Generally, other than that, I'd like to improve quality of life, the micromanagement of pop traits and things like that. I'd like to continue working on those.
Where do the ideas for new DLC come from?
There are a ton of ideas that we already have for things to explore. I'm really fond of saying that all of sci-fi is in our domain, but it really is. If there's a sci-fi book, movie, song, story, anything that you've ever read, heard, or seen, there's little bits and pieces that we can take from there to build up the tropes that end up creating a DLC.
Tell us a little about the inspiration for Machine Age.
So I've wanted to revisit machine intelligences in particular and cybernetic ascension for quite some time. Over the past couple of years, we've taken a couple of passes on things like psionic ascension, and they've gotten a lot of content. The custodian team is really fond of psionic content. But we haven't really done much with machines since Synthetic Dawn. So it seems like a really good opportunity to expand on that and explore to see where we could go.
What is your favorite feature included in Machine Age?
It's a toss-up between the individualistic machines, who give you an entirely new way to play the game, or the Synth Queen, because, well, I mean, it's been a long time since we've added an endgame crisis to Stellaris, so I'm really proud of that one. Oh my god, I got through a thing! Yay!